And as you can see, I am recording.
Is that cat Sarah Wiggum?
Now, let's stick to it, boys, because we got pub lunches left, right, and centre. I will be Darren. No, I will be Lorton Crepsley Spider. Zaz, you are Darren Spider. And we are joined today by our friend Parnce Umbleece.
Parnce Umbleece.
Bleece. Let's take it in turns, okay? Who wants to say the name of the character and who wants to say the other bit?
We say Pinchy and you say the lyrics.
Okay, let's do that. And action.
Pinchy.
Chasing birds.
Pinchy.
String of sausage.
Pinchy.
Butter.
Pinchy.
Lobsters need salt water.
Pinchy.
Nice hot bath.
Pinchy.
Snap, snap. Guita oa. Hui not midembrina misa alkaya.
Heck is empty and all the devils are here.
We are the antiquarians, Lawrence M. Nightingale and Flimsy Rosewater. Where is Father Anton? I hear rumours of a many-verse. Oh, that's you, Rob.
We lickers of dusty tomes located in the bowels of the disused stadium in Springfield Park and down the tunnels to the town hall of Lee.
Employed to put Simpsons files in spotty archive to haphazardly document the lives of Springfield's back doors.
Haunted by an outside which it circles around but can never fully acknowledge.
Thanks to our cousins, MIA, over to the MFIMDB for promoting the show, we are the professionals here and safe from all harm.
Lawrence, please tell me you checked the circle every quarter of an hour.
The circle is intact. Fortresses to defend the operators, mark the sigil, fetch the step ladders.
So, joined tonight on the Pinchy cast by Parnce Umbleshumble. Am I saying that right?
As in shambles, Parnce Umbleece.
And why? Tell us first about your choice. Who have you brought?
I have brought Pinchy to the Pinchy cast. Is that what I'm being set up for here?
That's a good choice.
Hey.
Relevant for the Pinchy cast.
I thought since we're doing a Pinchy cast that most of the content should be Pinchy based.
You've obviously never listened. You've obviously never listened before.
My idea was to do Maud again, but condensed into one episode. So Pinchy is a better idea.
Lawrence M. Nightingale, allergic to shellfish people, distant cousin of Bigfoot, and once won a lifetime of Red Bull that he's working through. What else do we need to know, Lawrence? I
have access to the Reese's Pieces warheads.
Have you done anything with them?
No, but I'm not afraid to.
An orange button.
Yes.
Flimsy Rosewater, ribbon aficionado. With so many ribbons to choose from, my go-to ribbon this week is Organdi, constructed of silk, cotton, or rayon. It is unique and thin in its transparent composition, both lightweight and easy to work with, and its iridescent finish makes an elegant statement. Parnce Umbleshumble. What are the connections between Pinchy and the other cast people who you may or may not know?
Well, trying to name a few, we've had Lunch Lady Doris. Correct.
Doris and Dora, correct.
Doris makes food, and spoiler, Pinchy becomes food by the end of the episode. Spoiler. So there's a tight, close connection there. We've had the dancer, yes. Sabu Simba. What was her name?
Her name is Princess Cashmere.
Princess Cashmere. Cashmere is an expensive fabric. Lobsters these days, now an expensive food. No longer a common man's dish.
Post-COVID.
Post-COVID and pre-COVID, but not during COVID times.
No, it was very cheap around that time because nobody could get to the ocean.
Yeah, yes. This is true. Demand and supply.
I don't think COVID works underwater, though.
We've now been flagged for misinformation on this podcast.
Yes.
Bring it up, Jamesy. Bring it up. Is it true?
You don't have to get the vaccine, just move under the sea.
I heard that the vaccine doesn't, and does.
Disco Stew.
60%.
Disco Stewcast. Is that where it all began? Disco Stewcast?
I think so.
It is.
He does not have any connection to Pinchy. That's the unfortunate one.
That is too bad, isn't it? But look over there in the corner. Who can you see, Zaz?
Oh, it's a spider in the dust, and he has his helmet and his shield and his plumes and his cheek guards, and his spear is dripping with the royal blood. Whose royal blood is that? Why do you hoard salt? Where are your legions?
Secret. And Barry, the Baroness Vale of Catmos, High Superintendent of Multi-Academy Trust and Counter-Extremism. Anything to say?
No. Yeah.
And how about over there in the third corner? That's you, Rob.
Oh, that R is, the circled R is. A daisy fairy circle, medieval forest dwellers, tiny, tiny, cute pigs on a spit. Let us see the fuzzy king you carry on that tiny throne. He has a letter.
Yes, he has a letter, but my eyes aren't good enough to see what's written on the letter. Little beardy king.
What is in the fourth corner? Oh,
Very good
darkness.
question. Darkness.
Just darkness, right?
Oh, I think there's a figure in a chair with red dundies on his face.
The letters H-A, and I can't tell if it's two W's. No, it's two M's stenciled on his back.
Probably stands for human automated munch. Parnce Umbleshumble. What do you like about Pinchy?
Parnce Umbleece. That's how it's pronounced. What do I like about Pinchy? I don't know, I've always had an affinity for the sea. He was maybe an homage to Sebastian from that film that I can't think of right now.
The Big Mermaid.
Yeah. The Mermaid in the City. I think it was
Will
the
Ferrell
French
vehicle. Le Mermaid dans la nuit, pan de la mer.
I think I have an appreciation for characters who only appear in one episode. And for several seasons, that was the case with Pinchy. And it's also a bold choice for the writers to base an episode around a character who can have no lines, that won't be voiced by Elizabeth Taylor.
Exactly.
He was very expressive, though, as a one no-liner, one show guy. Probably one of the best. And I think the other page is non-canon.
Here's a fun fact: his squeaks and noises were provided by Maggie Roswell for a fee of $4,000.
No truth. There's no truth there. But look, what I have here is a telegram from Kurt Vonnegut. Let's tag team it. Sweetheart Drake.
Kiss me under the mistletoe. We will tag team it together. Saz and I will speak at the same time.
Yes. Kiss me
under the mistletoe. It is time to give up on that idea.
We are of all men most miserable, the first fruits of those who have fallen asleep.
The West was supposed to learn from the CSTO's deployment in Kazakhstan. Success does not come from wealth, power, and fame.
Moving on doesn't mean you forget about things.
Exceeding customers' expectations is a point of personal and professional pride. Ringworm is a type of fungal skin infection.
Celebrate the life of Louis Franzetti Calypso, the bewitching nymph. The lustrous goddess held him back deep in her arching.
Hope is your survival, Jimmy Jam. Stay positive, KV.
It seems like KV has changed his tune a little bit. It sounds. Did you ever get any of those letters to Drake in the residence of Brolin, Hartnett, Holloway, Misty, and Josh Widdicombe?
I received one letter, and it's simple. I opened it and received a like in Harry Potter when the letters shout at you.
Oh yeah,
like that. But it was a slap.
It was silent.
And it just said, "Keep all Josh's names out of your effing mouth."
Knock, knock, knock. Who's that? Drake. So, Rob, which rank of A to G would you put? Would you put Pinchy?
What's the criteria? Thank you for referring to me as Parnce Umbleece.
Parnce Umbleshumble.
No, the Sheebles part is something you are adding. It's Parnce Umbleshumble.
Am I saying that right?
I said it right. Parnce Umbleshumble.
What letter do you think he or she is?
What are the criteria for G? I feel the G comes with a bit of insult, doesn't it?
A is the highest.
Yeah.
G is kind of about 6th, but you can go lower than G.
Great information you handed over. 1 is the best. 7 is like 6 after that.
Not always. Not always. I mean, listen, maths gets
sometimes
tricky.
There's decimals. I'm gonna go with G. I guess just because it is a single solo appearance. Spoiler: up until many seasons later in a cold opening.
That's not kind of.
I'm going to go G level just because there wasn't a lot of content that was ever built on. Pinchy was never mentioned again, as far as I know, in the actual show's history, but made for a memorable appearance.
Yeah, he got a soft toy, something that Maud Flanbers off the next door. She's never even had a toy of any kind.
No, I would be inclined to agree with the G placement. Not necessarily because he's in one episode. I'm basing it more on the fact that he's only our second character after Barb to not appear in Tapped Out or Bongo. And Barb gets a pass because she only existed from this year onwards.
I can't believe there are no Pinchy Bongos.
I can't believe he's not in Tapped Out.
I can't believe it either.
Are the two of you sitting with aces up your sleeves and you're going to surprise me in a few minutes with some Bongo Pinchy?
He's definitely Tapped Out. Zaz doesn't sit on those things. He knows our hearts wouldn't take it.
He is in Tapped Out, actually, but he's not playable. He has like a scene or something where he's a villain. But
he's an NPC in TO.
A non-playable crustacean.
Oh, very good. Hey, do you know any jokes about lobsters? Listen, Parnce, tell me something you know about this lobster, Pinchy.
I know that we're going to do an episode about him. That and the little bit of research I've done is all that I know about him or her.
Here's what I know about him or her. Chasing birds. He likes to chase birds. He is the boss of the Superheroes 2 event, cloned by the evil Dr. Crab to be his weapon against heroes. He fought by the heroes till Homer deals the final blow, killing him once again and eating him at the dead lobster. That's all Tapped Out stuff. So whatever we said earlier doesn't make sense. E.T. Gourmet Shelley. In real life, lobsters are black and only turn red after they've been cooked.
Oh, I did know that. That was coming later for me. That was my big question.
So, however, in Lisa Gets an A, Pinchy is red through the whole episode.
Right.
Already cooked. That was the spoiler.
He was cooked from the start.
Yeah.
It's like that movie where the guy sees dead people.
Oh,
you realize.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Digital Entertainment's new Jake McNeil described it as one of the season's best episodes, giving praise to the subplot, which he called great.
I would agree. This is our first cast that we've spent the full episode on one episode as well, really, which is nice.
Except for the other bit.
Except for the one clip, but outside of that, it all takes place in one specific period of time, but we still can't work out. But I have my theories.
Exactly. So this Disney Plus Australia started doing like Simpsons cooking, and one of the things they did was cooking Pinchy with Mark Fieldell.
Well, he looks delicious there, ripped apart into pieces.
And smothered in butter and asparagus and leaves.
And Homer's tears.
Exactly.
That's what makes it salty. And crust good friends from the Scottish Sun. Scott's fisherman pulls a Homer Simpson and finds his own Pinchy as he befriends and takes home rare orange lobster. So long, my old shipmate, he says, which is a strange way to greet a lobster. Douglas Craigie, 42, shared snaps of his adventures with Linda before donating his body to an aquarium.
Excellent.
Life
Linda is a great name.
Art. Linda is. So there's a card. Did you see this card from Simpsons Mania where he's called Mr. Pinchy?
Yes, I'll do you one better. I have this card. I don't know where it is.
That's twice as good.
You'll never know.
It says, snap, snap, and his arch enemy is melted butter.
I like that Mr. Pinchy's sound is snap and not pinch.
Yes.
Exactly.
Mr. Snappy. That name was already taken.
He's described as a crustacean / house pet / dinner. His favourite food is bacon, eggs, sausage links, and risotto. And
I think there are commas in there.
And his turn-ons are belly rubs, bacon eggs, sausage links. What is a bacon egg? I don't eat bacon eggs. Are they the eggs of bacons? Pig eggs. Yeah. Is that what they call pig eggs? Turn-offs, water over 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Blah,
I don't
blah,
like
blah,
the
it says.
phrase turn-ons.
It's a bit racy, isn't it, for a card about a lobster? A well-intentioned hot bath accidentally sent Mr. Pinchy to the big aquarium in the sky. Spoiler.
I like that the idea is that lobsters in the afterlife would have to be in aquariums and not oceans in the sky.
It's a limited view of the next life, isn't it? But it's very much our human-centric opinion. I want us to get into a wee space, a technical wee space.
Technical feat to have water in the sky.
Well,
clouds.
Oh yeah.
Are you referring to clouds?
Already cracked that one. God's already cracked that. Water in the sky. Every time I put it up there, it falls back down again, he says. Grrr.
Using more nails to nail the clouds into the air.
Exactly. Yeah. They're on little strings, little angel strings. Other Springfield residents would nickname Mr. Pinchy Mayor Diamond Joe Quimby. Did you know that?
I did not. What a tasteful and wonderful joke.
Here we go. Have you seen that one?
No.
You've never seen that one?
That is a find. That is what I would call a find.
It's on Google.
It was found.
Indeed it was. That is almost unbelievable that got made.
Is this canon, like, authorized memorabilia?
Yeah, I think so. But he has got...
Is this some Etsy shop?
No. There's a couple of dodgy ones on Etsy.
He looks significantly better than the other, like, plushies we've seen as well. Like, they've really taken the time with this one and then, like...
Spent all the time on it?
He looks like they've been inbred.
A lot from Bloody Lee.
Exactly.
One in Scam, one in Pen. Content, clip 1, season 9, episode 7. Lisa gets an Sunday best sums heading to home. Homer is laughing. Lisa looks glum. He says Homer J. He is carrying a lobster. He says, I am financial genius. I buy an $8 lobster and fatten it to an $80 lobster. He's waving the lobster about over the tank. And eat the profits. Plunk, the lobster drops in. Spoil sport Lisa says, lobsters need salt water. I'm way ahead of you as he pours in a whole tub of salt right on top of the lobster who sinks to the bottom.
Beautiful.
Simultaneously, the fish begin to float up to the top. And then Lisa says something about that the fish don't need salt water, and then he has to pour some water, and there's a little balancing game happening there of who will survive, the lobster or those two fish.
You can see them getting dried out. Too much salt in that water.
Now, do you think...
the fish have got to go at some point as well. I don't know if that's due to Pinchy or Homer, but these fish also don't have a good run.
Yeah, they may have found Pinchy to be somewhat inconsiderate as a new neighbor. I had heard that there was a lobster who did not get any gifts for anyone on Christmas because they're quite shellfish. And
phenomenal.
I'm curious if when Pinchy met these fish, if he said, "Shallow."
Is he Jewish?
No, but he might. But he, in that small space, he might be a bit claustrophobic.
Beautiful. You maybe want to save some for the next clips. I want all of them out in clip 1.
Where did he get the lobster from? We never see him buying a lobster.
We do.
Didn't he get it from like a Red Lobster restaurant that they'd gone to?
I believe it's from like the mall. It's from like a Whole Foods kind of situation, and he's going to buy a regular sized lobster and finds out it's too expensive, so he just buys the smallest lobster available, which happens to be Pinchy. But this is by far our most tragic cast.
Smallest lobster available, SLA?
Yes, exactly. Can he think was my note, because he's come to a new home and he has a new environment. I just wondered if he had any concept of what was going on around him.
What's a crustacean's perspective on the world, Rob? Parnce?
Well, it's difficult to know because lobsters are notoriously slow learners. I mean, I heard Pinchy was learning the alphabet and spent a lot of years at sea.
Sinks right to the bottom. Does the salt kill him?
No.
No, because the rest of the episode continues with him
No, but
theoretically alive, even though he's red.
Ooh. And fictional. The Simpsons have a rule, though, with animals that they have to kind of act like animals. They can't act too cartoonish before, like this is probably the season where that kind of changes. Because
isn't there some rule too after the Paul McCartney episode that they wouldn't kill? What's the deal with Paul? This must be pre-Paul McCartney, because wasn't there some deal that they can't show people eating animals or something like that, or killing animals on the show?
Just Lisa. He said he would only do the show if Lisa remained a vegetarian.
So just one of the characters.
They couldn't overturn Lisa's vegetarianism, use it as a scam, because they got it. That's what she became veggie in that episode, right?
The long con being that Paul McCartney will definitely expire before The Simpsons, so then they can just do whatever they want with her.
The oldest trick in the book.
Yeah.
They did it to John and George.
Exactly.
Did it to
Paul,
Ringo.
they'll do it to you too.
Clip 2. Horror stabs. Pinchy is now huge and too big for the tank. Homer arrives. Good news, my delicious friend. You're going to be a free-range lobster. He picks up the huge lobster and tosses it into the paddling pool that he has filled in the middle of the living room. Oh, HJ. He pulls out a string of sausages and starts feeding them to the pool. Come on, boy. Dig in, it'll give you a big, strong thorax. The sausages are devoured and pulled in, and Homer is pulled into the pool face first. He looks up, Homer, face first Homer, and says, why, you little, and gets his strangling hands out. The lobster squeals and cowers. Oh, look at him cower, just like the boy, says 90s Homer. I can't stay mad at such a helpless little mammal. Lobsters are mammals, I ask. The lobster spits in his face. He laughs. Oh, I'm going to get you for that, you little scamp. He spits again. Homer splashes him. Take that, Pinchy, he guffaws hysterically as the lobster continues to spit in his face.
And I like the pun that he called him a little scamp, knowing that the French refer to shrimp as scampies. So I thought that was probably some kind of a little crustacean pun-based humor.
Very clever.
Also, I had to double check what the thorax is, because I know it in relationship to insects. And I guess the thorax on a lobster is anything that's not the head or the tail.
Ooh.
Nice. I also did some research to figure out how much time had passed between clips 1 and 2. So lobster growth, an average lobster is about 1/4 to 1/2 pound. And to grow to that size would mean he is now roughly 5 years old. So he has surpassed Maggie.
He must have been doing a lot of physical activity, perhaps including tennis, where his favorite shot might be the lob. Perhaps he was doing laps on the road, because why would a lobster cross the road? Perhaps to get to the other tide.
Is this before or after they changed the rule about animals acting like comedy characters?
I am going to say this is the change, because we've only had Santa's Little Helper and Snowball and Stampy, the elephant.
We've only had the elephant.
And Laddie, the other dog. And they all act 99% like animals. And I'd say Pinchy's probably the first one where they brought him in and they basically just made him a cat or a small dog, like whimpering and doing. He's having a splash
and pulling in full chains of sausages into
his mouth,
and then spitting repeatedly into his owner's face.
Yeah, I believe that even the paddling pool would have been popped in an accurate situation.
It would just be in his nature.
It's been 5 years now since Pinchy arrived at the house.
Pop. Oh, God, not another one. Fetch the puncture repair kit, Bartholomew.
There's a missed opportunity for a T-shirt.
Canon.
Don't have a lobster, man.
Yes, exactly. My other Pinchy is Merjo Quimby. The throw that Homer does is very violent. I know he then goes on to strangle him, and his ultimate goal is to murder and eat him. But the throw into the pool was not very sensitive.
Yeah, for someone who's like looking at a long-term lobster investment here, that could have really thrown his business plan for a loop there.
Quite literally. Is it cannibalism if you eat a lobster?
No.
Although, from what I read, lobsters do eat other lobsters. They can be cannibals.
I also assume
lashings of garlic butter. What's that?
I assume he's eaten the fish because he's now solo in that small tank. So an underlying tragedy within the tragedy of the story is that these two fish, unnamed fish, are also sacrifices.
Fish 1 and fish 2.
I know a certain lady in heaven who's about to get 2 new fish.
Does she have an aquarium for them?
She will have.
I'm thankful they went with the crazy cat lady and not the crazy fish lady.
That would have been, they missed a trick having her, because she hasn't even arrived in the show yet, so she could have easily been the crazy lobster lady.
Lobsters hanging from each appendage.
Exactly, that old trait, like Frasier.
Clip 3. Mitch and Sumsums knocked Ricketts. Look at this. What's that? Is that? Mitch and Sumsums knocked Ricketts. Marge in lobsters. I think there's something in the kitchen.
I think I can translate that. I think you're trying to say Simpsons kitchen night crickets.
I am. Marge in lobster apron with big pilot of water on the boil. Homer is holding up huge Pinchy. Oh, she's so plump and juicy. He's going to boil up nicely. Homer turns and says, "Guess this is it, old pal. This is your big day. Pinchy, things are going." Water is boiling. Marge says, "Quick, chuck him in," smiling. HJ angers. Marge angry shouts, Come on, let's go. In the pot. Homer Simpson says, Pinchy sees Pinchy's cute face, giggling. "Oh, but Marge, look at the little guy." He thrusts the monstrous face of Pinchy at her. He is drooling and clawful. He looks like a monster. Oh, he grabs Marge's nose. "You son of a..." She grabs her nose. "See that, Marge? Honey, he likes you."
I just wrote, "Beauty is in the eye of the beholder." And then just a small note that Homer is holding Pinchy. And I wish he was a bee in this situation to make that full circle.
Yeah, what I did is I paused it and I drew like a bee shape on the screen, putting him some little wings, and then that made sense to me. So exactly. That's great.
I like how callous Marge is.
Yeah, this is actually, I think, the most like vindictive I've heard Marge. Like, she was clearly, what's the word? Not just hungry, but like almost gluttonous in her delight for the end of Pinchy.
She'd waited 5 years to eat this lobster.
She's probably had enough of him by now. But yeah, animals not being animals, he's very placid in Homer's arms. He seems very calm.
And if Pinchy was wanting to look even more beautiful to Homer, there's the possibility that lobster could be wearing seashells. And someone might think, why? That looks so tacky. But he surely thought they were currently trendy.
And don't call me Shirley.
And I bet you when not wearing them, Pinchy would keep them hanging in his closets.
Call them wardrobes in England.
Don't call me Shirley.
Anyway, Mitch and Sumsums knocked Ricketts.
She surely does. It's a nice insight into Homer's mentality as well. And it would be a lovely story if you ended it after clip 4. It would be wholesome.
I never mentioned the fact that they have a lobster again, like a giant dog-sized lobster living in the middle of the living room.
That would actually be a great 26 seasons long gag, just that he's in the back, but never mentioned.
I will come back to that point.
So in Batman, at some point in Batman, they introduced a T-Rex and a giant coin. And often when people draw the Batcave, now there'll be a giant coin and a T-Rex in the Batcave. It's kind of a long-standing Batman joke. Chance missed. All I can say.
How long has Batman been standing for? Sorry, I missed that.
Batman's been standing for 8 movies.
Now he lives in Liverpool.
Doesn't
he? Does.
No, he bloody doesn't. Drake, sit down. Just have a drink. Get some ginger ale.
Clip 4.
Shaking his head. Clip 4. Homer J and Marge are walking along a sunny beach. Pinchy is on a leash being dragged along behind them. "Relax, boy, we're not going to cook you. Enjoy your day at the beach. Look, here's a little playmate for you." He grabs a hermit crab. The crab pinches Pinchy's face. Pinchy grabs his face and squeals. "Hey, Homer, hey, you don't have to take that from no punk-ass crab. What's wrong with you?" Sea captain arrives. Yeah, it's not his fault. He's a sissy. Somebody's been coddling him. Pulls out
1990s sea captain.
1990s sea captain pulls out pipe and turns menacingly and judgmentally towards Marge. Don't look at me, she sounds off. I wanted to eat him. 90s sea captain says, sorry, it's the 90s. It's always the mother. Then he pauses and looks at the camera and winks. And then he says, I run a lobster academy for this kind of thing. We stress, we stress daily chores and the likes. No, says Marge. We're not sending the lobster to some snobby boarding school. SC looks shocked. Yahoo, I understand it's hard to let go. Rubs chin. Tell me this then. Do you have any spare change? And holds out his hand. That's a great end.
And then Homer says, weren't you once a professional lobster fisherman? And he said, yes, but it seems that living on my net income was harder than I thought. And then Marge suggests that if he really needs some money, he should go to the prawn broker.
It's a shame that was all cut for time.
And his trousers fell to his ankles and he waddled away. Wah, wah, wah.
The leash seems unnecessary. And then I questioned, are they fast? And then I Googled top lobster speeds, which are 10 to 12 miles an hour. So yes.
On land.
On a scooter.
When they're being shot from a cannon, it can go up to 12 miles an hour. I like that season 9 Marge is just on board. She's just walking a lobster down the promenade or down the beach.
Perhaps they realized that Pinchy's a bit of a player because he had once told them that he'd met another beautiful crustacean. Then he said, but it seems I lobster her phone number she gave.
I'm surprised lobsters have that technology.
They don't.
Did he say, I lobster her phone number?
I lobster her phone number.
Lobster.
Dropped it somewhere.
Oh, Parnce Umbleshumble.
Umbleece.
Unheimlich Shambles.
Are you familiar with the TV show Loki? Or have you?
I know the show Lost.
Loki.
Yes.
Is it similar?
It is very few lobsters in Lost. Probably zero.
There was that one episode where John Locke got a pet lobster.
Oh, yeah, and then he ended up eating him.
Yeah.
He fed it right up real big over the seasons, and then Mr. Echo came in and he said, oh, there's no room on this island for more crustaceans, and they all ate him.
Yes, and then we got the flashback how he got his tattoo.
Does he have tattoos?
Pinchy.
Yeah, you could draw it on with marker maybe, but I don't know how one would tattoo a lobster. Let me check.
However, when they shed their shell, I think when they start fresh, they've got fairly soft skin at first. That would be the time if you're going to do it.
You got to act fast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of humans who got tattoos of lobsters, but very few lobsters that have tattoos.
Of lobsters.
Of anything.
There is, speaking of Loki, or just a general...
You mean the Marvel TV show?
Yes, or like just timeline branches, basically. This is the one that...
Lost.
Like Lost, or like that other show where they twin all those peaks.
12 Street Blues.
That's the one. It was
Parnce
inevitable.
Umbleshumble.
That's Frasier. It was inevitable Homer would kill Pinchy at some point, and Marge knew that. So Marge, by saying
he's playing the long game,
boarding school, has sealed his fate. So it's all.
What do you think he could have become if he had gone to this questionable lobster academy, which I'd like to think is very similar to police academy?
Yeah, and within is the
lunch. That
is the bongo we're missing, isn't it? Pinchy at a lobster school with the sea captain.
I'm on it. Let's do it.
It shall be done. But yeah, I think he would have been top of the class.
What would they have studied at such a school other than obviously the chores that were described?
Butter avoidance.
Yes.
Net snipping.
Shell something.
Shelbyville.
Something that rhymes with shell.
Shell kill. Shell kill.
Yeah,
there'd also be some sort of musical direction afternoon club so that when necessary they can sing that like Commotion Under the Ocean song that they do in the Sea Lady in the Big City animated documentary.
The fish on the land ain't happy. The fish on the land ain't happy. Here we go. Watch this. Watch this if you don't believe it.
fish on the land ain't happy. The fish on the land ain't happy. The fish on the land ain't happy. This is nowhere for a fish to spend the day. No way at all. Up on the land they are working. A big head is no way to spend the day. On the earth you're better. I'm down here observe it's worse. And my girlfriend is a trout, but it's okay because she likes.
Exactly. Great diversion.
That is the fish on the land from the Mother's Day birthday. Not only are we bringing lobstering education in everything, it's a mix match of everything.
Brendan, do you think the Lobster Academy would be a traditional and mainstream progressive or a post-progressive approach to education?
Oh, good Lord. What
Moving on, clip 5.
With the sea captain in charge. Clip 5. Grumble Marge in the kitchen. She is mopping. Who left these grubby claw prints on my clean floor? Homer J is at the table with a duff. Sorry, Marge. Pinchy got all muddy in the yard chasing birds, but don't worry, I've given him a nice hot bath. Bart enters. Sniff, sniff. What smells so good? Yeah. Homer J then says, oh, Pinchy. The ominous strings come in. Pinchy! He runs out.
The cliffhanger we all expected. This could have been a two-parter. Who bathed Mr. Pinchy?
I don't mean to get too personal here, but I'm sure you guys know I cannot eat any boiled lobster, clam, or shrimp because I have shellfish steamed issues.
That's a good one.
That is good. I just assumed it was allergies. I do
no,
like
just self-doubt.
Just self-doubt.
Being a shell of a man.
He has the confidence now to chase birds in the yard, so he has had some character development between clips 4 and 5.
He's no longer just a sausage consumer. He's a bird chaser too.
Yes, he is no longer the sissy that he was in clip 4.
90s sissy Pinchy.
Exactly.
It's
Indian man sea captain.
It's quite a journey. Quite a journey.
He might even have a part-time job on the side, working at the bread factory, perhaps at the crust.
Do they do the crust separately to the bread?
Yeah, they stick them on at the end.
Yeah, at the end.
A frame.
Both ends.
Sort of like a lobster's external skeleton.
Good fact. It is. It's only funny because no one cares about lobsters. Like, this would be less funny if he was. It would be less funny
if it would be less funny if he was doing what?
Boiling the cat.
Well, there's some other animals in which it would be far less funny if they were in a... How hot does this bath have to be? I don't think you could run a bath that's hot enough to kill and boil a lobster. That would be...
You do. The dead lobster is probably the least of your worries. The 3rd-degree burns you and your family receive
on a daily basis.
On a daily basis. Probably a bigger issue.
Yes, that is a hot bath.
That's a real hot.
And yeah, it's a shame we didn't get to see more of these like bird chasing shenanigans.
We saw none of them, correct?
That is accurate.
Only up here.
Theater of the mind, the gift of television.
That bongo is going to be good though. We're going to do bongo. We're going to drop bongo. And the first story is going to be a Pinchy story about him being in the 90s Academy and chasing those birds.
I guess chickens are birds and they stay on the ground. They don't fly away.
Chickens can fly.
Yeah?
That's why they have
Not
to
properly.
That's why they have wings.
That's why they have to put a roof over the chicken coop.
Not to keep foxes out.
Foxes can't fly.
Good point. Good logic.
I cannot find a temperature for cooking lobsters.
I'm guessing
temperature will do.
I'm no expert on baths, but I'm guessing it's higher than a bath can achieve.
218 degrees Celsius. That is a hot bath.
Celsius, isn't that double the boiling point of water?
Essentially, the only way you could do it is through steam.
Yeah, this could have been a much more tragic day for the family. Like,
that hot would set the house on fire.
Lisa could have just gone for a bath and just ended up wounded for the next 25 seasons on Paul McCartney's demands. Or the baby, or the boy. So if anything, we are lucky that it was Pinchy.
What's the letter before G? Maybe he moves up one ranking standard.
H.
For his service. No, the one, isn't it before?
12.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah, the one before G. F.
6. Exit crying Homer J. Simpson. Hands on face, he sobs as he puts something that looks very lobsterish into his mouth. Oh man, that's good. Boo-hoo, pass the butter. Everybody else's plates are empty. Are you going to eat that all by yourself, says the boy. He cries as he pours butter in. Pinchy would have wanted it this way.
The only note I wrote there was, I wonder what other wishes Pinchy had for the family, or would have for the family.
World peace.
I do think, not just a shellfish pun, but I think Pinchy would be more selfish than that. I don't think his wishes to me wouldn't extend beyond the realms of the most Homer. Like, he's trying to snap away at Marge. He's probably, at this point, we don't even know if he's met Lisa and Maggie outside of that first clip. So I think all of Pinchy's wishes are probably to do with Pinchy and probably the consumption of whatever lobsters eat. Krill.
Sausages.
I researched this. They eat fish, crabs, clams, mussels, sea urchins, and sometimes even other lobsters.
So
very high, kind of a keto diet there. Makes me wonder if he would stay in shape and go to the gym. I sure hope he doesn't pull a muscle.
I'm enjoying the silences after these jokes. They'll stay in. Maybe we'll extend them. This is probably the most grief we've ever seen Homer display for a loss. We haven't seen him up until this point. Definitely, he didn't care about Grimy. He fell asleep at Grimy's funeral, and as we know, he will go on to not care about the murder of both of Ned's wives. But it is also in turn the most disrespectful display of handling a corpse that he does on the show.
Well, he did at least crack Maud Flanders' body open and pour hot butter into her corpse.
I'd like to go with Zaz on this one. It would be more tragic if it was a cat and he was doing this.
Yes.
Most animals, it would be more tragic.
Nobody cares about lobsters. If he had ripped Maud limb from limb post-death and consumed her, it would have been a darker.
It would have been on the news.
He could have lost the 5 minutes of Ned dating, though, in that episode, to just have a long clip of Homer having to dispose of the body via consumption.
Zaz, I'm here to talk about Pinchy.
6.
Oh yeah, that's more of a cousin situation.
Clip 7. It's Couch Gag. This is season 28, so many years later. What was that first? Was it season 9, right? So 20 years later.
Almost.
Give or take. And here we have. Can you name some of these animals?
Dog, an elephant, a pig, a horse, and maybe a banana. A monkey, pigeon.
Small dogs as well.
Precisely. There are animals on here I don't know who the raccoon is with Homer's face.
Actually, it took me a second to watch this to even realize Pinchy was there. I think something about being on the ground level. And although you'd think something red would jump out, my eyes were very distracted by the large elephant in the room.
Yes, the elephant in the room is certainly the... and then you've got Spider Pig next to him as well, who's taking most of the audience's focus. It also doesn't help that Nibbles the hamster is directly in front of Pinchy.
It is rolling. That's just a screenshot.
What is interesting though, the pigeon, the bird that he might chase, has found its way onto the lampshade, well out of Pinchy's grasp. I wonder if just before the cameras got rolling here, if there's any bird chasing happening.
Listen, Ron, I don't know if you ever worked with animals, but I don't envy the animator who had to get all of these animals all lined up,
looking in the same direction.
This is a hamster and a guinea pig. They're different.
Quadrupeds. I would say that I'm thinking that Pinchy is the only animal on this picture that is dead.
Bye, Drake. Drake's gone.
Oh, finally. As far as I know, all the other animals are alive.
What's this one?
Except for Pinchy. That is like a screaming caterpillar.
Oh, is that a real thing? Because everyone is. Once I got past the Pinchy stuff, the next thing down was like the screaming caterpillar.
Yes, no, I think it is just specifically for this animated show.
So then we got into a nice bonus thing. And it's The Mollusk by Ween, which is a great song. I won't
not about
our version of The Mollusk by Ween. But
yeah.
Homer in black and white sees little Pinchy. You made breakfast. Nothing's too good for me. And he pours. It looks like he's making breakfast for the family, but then he pours fried eggs directly into the tank. You're nothing but skin and bone, he says. I've made you some risotto. Then we say, no more pain where you are, boy, as he snaps the thorax and sucks out the innards. Oh, God, that's tasty. I wish Pinchy was here to enjoy this. Rest in peace. Rest in Pinchy.
Yeah, I included this just so we could see a bit more of a chance to see Pinchy as a family member and sort of just the in-between parts, the calm middle part of Pinchy's life where he was just a member of the Simpsons household. And I did note that it's similar to Roy, but there is absolutely no reason that Pinchy couldn't have stayed. Like it's a fun
He's already
gag.
there for 5 years.
Yeah, what's another 28? It's a fun gag to have Homer accidentally murder and eat this lobster, but I think a funnier gag would have been, yes, a 28-season lobster.
You only get to do the accidental murder and eat it once. Think of all the other opportunities you could do multiple times.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the season 34 episode where he buys, I don't know, like an ox, whatever people eat.
A T-Rex.
Yes.
Keep him in the back.
With a coin.
Parnce Umbleshumble.
No, Umbleece.
Here's some art for you. Pinchy best. And here's what's interesting. I just noticed on this, Saz. Can you see that date?
Yes. That's just a stab in the dark.
I think that's a T-shirt.
With a big blood stain, stab stain in the back.
Yes, no, those dates, October 7th, 1994 to November 22nd, 1998, would make him 4 years old, but also this episode only aired in like 1998, so we've got some more Twin Peaks. What year is this stuff going on?
The episode happened in 88, which means it must have started 5 years earlier.
They'd started animating him 5 years earlier.
Yeah, it takes 5 years to animate a lobster.
Just the concept of Pinchy was maybe they laid in clues 5 years. We'll go back 5 seasons and see what the clues are being dropped for us.
Yeah, because that one, we're at the plant with the three-eyed fish, where if you look in the background, there's some lobster eggs at the back, right?
So little red lobster eggs.
Easter eggs, but in the sea world, they just call them lobster eggs.
Just a bundle of sissy eggs. This is the relationship Homer has with Pinchy is way more sincere or affectionate than he has with any of the other animals or his children. It's a very wholesome. He has a lot of love for Pinchy, and it would have been nice to see that
in life and in death. Immediate death, at least, anyways.
But the love was very fleeting, as he never mentioned him again, and the grief.
And it shows that there can be heart in capitalism, because this all first started quite callously of just simply a business transaction. Like, I'm going to keep you around because I can 10 times my profit for quantity of lobster. And then but then as the episode grows, it's less of a business relationship and more of a, dare I say, pleasure relationship.
It is
pleasure of the heart.
One-way pleasure.
It is a very standard and nice storyline, isn't it? Until
all hail capital imperialism.
Exactly, imperialism.
In loving memory, Pinchy. Now, this is just ripped off the show, so I'm not counting this as real art. What about this?
I'm stunned you found Pinchy art.
You are stunned, aren't you? But what about this? This was made by Carillion Art on Deviant Art.
Beautiful, in a word. Very, what's that Ghibli film about the neighbour? Is it Meet the Yamadas?
Maybe it's garbage, that, though.
Yeah, it is. But she reminds me of, I don't know, the sort of kind of simple cartoon style. And Madge's hair is very fun. No need for it. Very good creative choice.
It's very fun. It makes you see how it could be done in a semi-realistic manner.
Pinchy's face is very sweet.
Those eyes? Because they don't really have eyes, do they?
That to me is saying, I think they do have eyes.
But those balls on sticks, are those their eyes?
Yes, they are their eyeballs.
What about the hovering antennas over their heads?
Are those their eyes?
Maybe they
those
are.
ears?
They feel us.
Or those speed lines?
They yes. Stink lines everywhere. He's cold. The heart seems to be coming from Pinchy, not Homer, which is cute. That expresses that
they're looking at each other.
The loving relationship was more two-way than you'd assume. Pinchy seemed to have the same affection for Homer in this image.
And this seems to be a moment of Marge accepting Homer's decision not to cook Pinchy. She seems to have an empathetic gaze here.
Yes, I would agree. She could have just dunked that lobster in that pot if she was really callous, but she obviously knows Homer J well enough to know just let him have this run. He will kill this lobster himself. But yeah, I would say this is a great piece of art.
I agree. Here is a tattoo by Magnus Opus Tattoo, RIP Magnum Opus Tattoo, RIP Pinchy at Danny Hampson. This tells you how much he grew to. And we get
which is double what Homer had predicted. I think at the start, Homer says he's going to grow him to be an 80-pound lobster. But according to the data on this tattoo, it says he went from 1 to 160 pounds.
He just kept going, didn't he?
This is where my research came in handy. I thought he said an 80-pound lobster at first, but he said an $80 lobster. So when I Googled what that would be like a half-pound lobster, whereas 160-pound lobster would be something like 150 years old. Have a look.
Or maybe that's the British pound price that he would have gone for.
Poundland lobster, pound bakery lobster.
Exactly. 8 oldest lobsters in the world. Anyway, I'm a big fan of deceased Simpsons characters as tattoos, so this is a big plus for me.
That'd be a great Reddit username. I'm a great fan of deceased Simpsons animals tattoos.
Could have a club with 2 legs in, one more, and we could compete in a 3-legged race.
See, here he's got his little eyes just stuck there like balls. This is the Marge-eye version of Pinchy as well, which I think is cool.
Yeah, the most realistic Pinchy on the show.
Yes. Here's a Pinchy skateboard, I Dream of Pinchy, by Dono O'Malley on board Pusher Skateboards. It's a pretty cute Pinchy.
It is cute, and comparatively, when we've looked at Leopold or Raheem, Barb, that's like quite a bit, but a lot of people don't have a lot of art after them, but Pinchy in his 9 minutes of screen time made a lot of impact on fans. I think it's because of his gentle nature.
I would love the idea that this design for a skateboard turned into a Band-Aid. I would wear that if I cut myself preparing seafood.
Yes. Little one. If seafood gets into a wound, is it dangerous?
No, only land meat.
Because chickens would be. If you smeared raw chicken into your wound, that could give you, what, El Salvador is it called?
The one. Salmonella.
But you're basically saying you could smear yourself in lobster and other than the odd nip, you wouldn't go wrong.
I'd go as far to say it's recommended.
And that's it. So
hold on. I brought a little bit of Pinchy art to the table myself. I dug deep into my Microsoft Paint database. Is it possible for me to share these?
Go for it.
Turns out on the internet, or at least specifically on my computer, which is sometimes connected to the internet, there's a whole fan world of Pinchy art that I'd hope to share with you guys. Can you guys see that?
Oh, yeah.
So this one was called Santa Claus's Little Helper.
Nice.
Very good.
With the claws.
I get it.
Okay. This one, let's see. Can I do this? There we go. This one here is Sideshow Lobster.
Nice.
Sideshow Bob with Pinchy's claws on top.
I like it a lot.
This one is Edna Crabapple.
Lobstapple.
And this one, save the best for last, boys. This one I dug up. This one is Claude Flanders.
Beautiful.
In a very
ka-ching.
I'd be curious to follow her, what happens to Claude next after this scene from the television show The Simpsons.
I can hazard a guess. I think it involves lots of chunks of lobster on the car park.
All back to some haunting moments earlier in this Claude cast. we did today.
HJ with a bucket of hot sweet butter.
Just waiting to catch you.
In his mouth.
Homer also liked Stampy, is my last note of this entire thing.
Shall we finish with a song?
Yes.
Who's going first?
I think we should let our guess. Paisley Underbar.
Parnce Umbleshumble.
All right, and action.
Clip 1.
Sums. Ooh, lobster dops.
Spoil sport lobsters. Pause a tin for table salt.
I have no clue how to read this. I know how to read, but I don't know where we are in the song.
I tend to pick the words that are spelled the worst.
Horror stab.
Pinky is now hug. And BGI for the tank.
Homer arrives.
He picks you up the huge lobster and tooses into a paddling polo.
Sahajas, Hema strangling luster cavouse.
Oh, look at him cower, just like the boy.
Homer splash him.
Unleashes, please.
Nugged Sayas boiled in quick trusts.
He looks like an orange nut.
You don't have to take that from no punk blank crab.
Captain Harmet, rewalling pinch, menacing pinch.
Gimfer, hermit crab, rumble match. Grubby gutlaw.
Do you have any spare change?
Pinchy, lobsterish.
He's there in front with the hamster ball.
When she's not on the screen, everyone should be asking, what's Pinchy up to?
I'm semi-rasterized. Hooray, we did it. Thanks, Parnce. That was a fun one. The end.
Thank you. Parnce Umbleece.
Nothing's too good for my one and only. Eat, you're nothing but skin and bone. He's part of the family now. Pinchy, I made you some risotto.
What? You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna get you for that, you little scamp. Here, take that, Pinchy. You proud of your big sister, Mr. Pinchy? My dear sweet Pinchy. Oh. No more pain where you are now, boy. Oh, God, that's tasty. I wish Pinchy were here to enjoy this. Pinchy.